The alarm screamed across mining station Kepler 442 be like a wounded animal. Red lights flashed in every hallway, and the computer voice repeated the same message over and over, unknown vessel approaching. All personnel to emergency stations. Unknown vessel approaching. Dae-ho Kim wiped grease from his hands and looked up from the engine he was fixing. He had been working in the maintenance bay for 3 years, and he had never heard this alarm before. His heart started beating faster. "What's happening?" asked his helper, Tae-young-yoon. The young man's face was pale with worry. "I don't know," Dae-ho said. He walked to the window and looked out into space. Far away, he could see something moving toward their station. It was big and dark, and it was coming fast. The station shook suddenly. Tools fell from tables. The lights went out for a moment, then came back on. "That wasn't good," Tae-young said. Dae-ho grabbed his tool bag. "Come on, they might need us." They ran through the hallways toward the main docking bay. Other people were running too. Some looked scared. Others looked excited. No one knew what was happening. Captain Sunya Park's voice came over the speakers. "All security teams to docking bay 7. All other personnel stay in your rooms. This is not a drill." But Dae-ho didn't go to his room. He was curious. He wanted to see what was happening. When they reached docking bay 7. They found a crowd of people watching through the safety glass. On the other side of the glass, they could see a huge hole in the station's outer wall. Twisted metal was everywhere. Smoke was coming from broken pipes. "Look at that," someone whispered. In the middle of all the broken metal was a ship. But it wasn't like any ship Dae-ho had ever seen. It was black and smooth, with strange curves. It looked like it was made from one piece of metal. But it was also badly damaged. Parts of it were missing. Other parts were bent and torn. "Is anyone alive in there?" Tae-young asked, before anyone could answer. Part of the ship moved. A door opened with a hissing sound. Smoke came out. Everyone watching took a step back. Then they saw it. The creature that came out of the ship was like nothing from Earth. It was huge, maybe 12 feet tall. Its body was covered in black scales that looked like dark glass. It had 4 arms, each one ending in sharp claws. Its head was long like a dragon's head, with bright yellow eyes that seemed to glow. "Oh my God," someone said. The creature looked around slowly. It moved carefully, like it was hurt. Its yellow eyes looked at all the broken metal, then at the humans watching through the glass. Security guards ran into the docking bay. They had weapons, but they looked very small next to the huge creature. Captain Park came too. She was a brave woman who had been in charge of the station for 5 years, but even she looked worried. "Stay back," she shouted to her guards. "Don't shoot unless I give the order." The creature heard her voice. It turned its head toward her. For a moment, everyone was very quiet. Then the creature spoke. Its voice was deep and strange. The words didn't sound like any language Dae-ho knew, but the computer quickly translated. I mean no harm. My ship is broken. I need help." Captain Park took a step forward. "What are you? Where did you come from?" The creature looked at her with its glowing eyes. "I am Nekmaran. I am from the Valkyrian people. My ship was attacked. I escaped, but barely. I need a place to stay while I fix my ship." "Attacked by who?" Captain Park asked. "Raiders. They killed." The creature stopped talking. It looked down at the ground. "They killed my family, my children? I am the only one left." Even through the translator, everyone could hear the sadness in its voice. Some of the fear in the room began to change into something else. Pity, maybe. Dae-ho found himself wanting to help. He had always been good at fixing things. Maybe he could help fix the creature's ship. "I have technology," Nekmaran said. "Advanced technology. I can share it with you if you let me stay. I just need time to repair my ship." Captain Park looked at her guards, then at the crowd watching through the glass. This was not an easy decision. The creature was clearly very dangerous, but it was also clearly very sad. "How long would you need?" she asked. "I don't know." "Weeks. Maybe months. Much of my ship is destroyed." Captain Park was quiet for a long time. Finally, she said, "We'll give you a place to stay, but you must follow our rules. No weapons, no threatening anyone. And you stay in the cargo bay. I agree, Vecmoran said. Thank you. The security guards led the creature to the large cargo bay. It was the only room on the station big enough for something so huge. They set up a bed and brought food and water. As the crowd broke up, Deho stayed and watched. The creature sat on the floor of the cargo bay, looking at pieces of metal from its broken ship. It picked up each piece very carefully, like they were precious. Strange, Young said. Why would it care so much about broken metal? Deho didn't answer. He was thinking about what the creature had said. Its family was dead. Its children were gone. Maybe those pieces of metal weren't just metal to Vecmoran. That night, Deho couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about the huge creature sitting alone in the cargo bay. He wondered what it was thinking. He wondered if it was scared. He also wondered if the humans on the station had made the right choice. Vecmoran seemed peaceful now, but what if it changed its mind? What if it decided to hurt them? But mostly, he wondered about the sadness he had heard in its voice. Deho had lost people he loved too. He knew how that felt. Maybe sadness was the same for everyone. No matter what they looked like, the next morning, work continued as usual. But everything felt different. They had an alien on their station, a real alien, and no one knew what would happen next. Deho went back to fixing engines and repairing computers. But his mind kept wandering to the cargo bay and the creature. Inside it, he had a feeling that his life was about to change in ways he couldn't imagine. He was right. 3 days passed after Vecmoran arrived on the station. During the day, everything seemed normal. People worked at their jobs. Children went to school. The alien stayed in the cargo bay and didn't cause any trouble. But at night, everything changed. The first night, Deho was getting ready for bed when he heard it. A sound unlike anything he had ever heard before. It was deep and low like a whale song, but much sadder. It made his chest feel tight. The sound lasted for almost an hour. When it finally stopped, Deho couldn't sleep. He lay in bed wondering what could make such a terrible noise. The next morning, everyone was talking about it. "Did you hear that awful sound last night?" asked Mrs. Bear Ramshin, who ran the station's small garden. "My little girl cried all night," said Mr. Wu Jinhan. "She said it sounded like the world was ending." "It's coming from the cargo bay," said Tae-young. "It has to be the alien." Captain Park called a meeting. She looked tired, like she hadn't slept well either. "I know you're all worried about the sounds," she said. "But remember, we promised to help Vecmoran. We can't break our promise just because we're uncomfortable." "But what if it's dangerous?" asked someone. "What if the creature is getting ready to attack us?" "I don't think so," said Dr. Jiwoo Lee, the station's science officer. "I've been watching it through the security cameras. During the day it just sits quietly, it barely moves, it looks ... sad." That night the sound came again. This time Deho was ready. He put on his clothes and walked toward the cargo bay. He wanted to see what was making the noise. When he got there, he looked through the small window in the door. What he saw surprised him. Vecmoran was sitting in the middle of the floor. Around it were small pieces of metal from its broken ship. The creature was holding one piece in its hands, very gently. Its head was tilted back, and the sad sound was coming from its throat. It wasn't trying to scare anyone. It was crying. Deho watched for a long time. The alien would pick up one piece of metal, hold it carefully, and make the sad sound. Then it would put the piece down and pick up another one. It did this over and over again. When the crying finally stopped, Vecmoran carefully put all the pieces back in the same spots. Then it lay down on the floor and went to sleep. Daho walked back to his room, but he couldn't stop thinking about what he had seen. The creature wasn't dangerous. It was heartbroken. The next day, Dr. Lee came to the maintenance bay. "I heard you went to the cargo bay last night," she said. "What did you see?" Deho told her everything. Dr. Lee listened carefully. "Interesting," she said. "I've been trying to study Vecmoran's behavior, but it won't talk to me. It barely responds when I ask questions." "Maybe it doesn't want to talk," Deho said. "Maybe it just wants to be left alone." "But that's not healthy," Dr. Lee said. "If it keeps acting like this, it might get sick or worse." That night, more people came to watch. They stood in the hallway outside the cargo bay, listening to the sad sounds. Some of them had tears in their eyes. "This is breaking my heart," whispered Mrs. Shin. "I can't stand hearing it cry like that." "Maybe we should do something," said Mr. Han. "Maybe we should try to help it." "How?" asked Tae-young. "We don't know anything about its people. We don't know what it needs." On the fourth night, something different happened. Little Yoonji Nam, who was only 6 years old, couldn't sleep because of the crying. She walked to the cargo bay with her father. When Ekmoran saw her through the window, it stopped crying. It looked at her with its glowing yellow eyes. Yoonji put her small hand on the glass. The alien stood up slowly and walked over to the window. It put one of its large claws against the glass, right where Yoonji's hand was. For a moment, they just looked at each other. Then Yoonji started to cry. Not because she was scared, but because she could feel how sad the alien was. "It misses its babies," she said to her father. "It's crying because its babies are gone." Her father picked her up and carried her away, but her words stayed with everyone who heard them. The next morning, Dr. Lee came to see Daeho again. "I've been thinking about what the little girl said," she told him. "What if she's right? What if Ekmoran is mourning its children? But why would it cry over pieces of metal?" Daeho asked. "Maybe they're not just metal to it," Dr. Lee said. "Maybe they're special somehow." That day, Dr. Lee tried to talk to Ekmoran again. She asked it about the metal pieces. The alien looked at her for a long time before answering. "They are all I have left," it said quietly. "All I have left of." "Them of who?" Dr. Lee asked gently. "My children, my mate, my family?" Ekmoran's voice was full of pain. "These pieces, they were in the ship when they died. They are all I could save." Dr. Lee felt her heart break. "I'm so sorry for your loss," Ekmoran nodded slowly. "Every night I try to honor them, I try to remember them properly. But I cannot. Do it right? Your station is not made for my people's ways? I cannot grieve as I should. What do you need?" Dr. Lee asked. "Things that do not exist here," Ekmoran said sadly. "My people have special ways to say goodbye to the dead. Without these ways I cannot heal. Without healing I cannot live." That night the crying was louder and longer than ever before. It went on for 3 hours. People all over the station couldn't sleep. Some of them started crying too, even though they didn't know why. In his room, Daeho lay awake listening to the alien's sorrow. He thought about what Dr. Lee had learned. Ekmoran wasn't just sad, it was stuck. It couldn't properly say goodbye to its family, so it couldn't start healing. Daeho was good at fixing things. He could fix engines and computers and broken machines. But could he fix a broken heart? Could he help an alien heal from terrible grief? He didn't know. But he was going to try. The next morning he started making plans. Daeho couldn't sleep. For 6 nights now he had listened to Ekmoran's crying. Each night the sound seemed to get deeper inside his chest. It made him feel helpless and sad. On the 7th night, instead of lying in bed, he got dressed and walked to the cargo bay. He didn't plan to go inside. He just wanted to understand what was happening. When he got there, he saw other people in the hallway. Mrs. Shin was there, holding a cup of tea. Mr. Han was there too, looking tired. Even some of the security guards had come to listen. "I can't." "Stay away," Mrs. Shin whispered. "It's like the sound is calling to me." "My wife says I'm crazy," Mr. Han said quietly. "But I feel like I need to be here. Like it needs us to witness its pain." Daeho looked through the window. Ekmoran was doing the same thing as before. It sat in the middle of the floor with the metal pieces around it. But tonight, Daeho watched more carefully. The alien didn't just pick up the pieces randomly. It had a pattern. First, it would pick up a small, curved piece and hold it against its chest. Then it would pick up a larger piece and touch it to its forehead. After that, it would arrange several tiny pieces in a circle on the floor. Each time it touched a piece, it would make a different sound. Some sounds were high and musical, others were low and deep. Together they created a sad song that seemed to tell a story. "It's not just crying," Daeho said to himself. "It's doing something specific." The next morning, he went to find Dr. Lee. "I think Thekmoran is trying to perform some kind of ceremony," he told her. "It's not random crying. It's following a pattern." Dr. Lee looked interested. "What kind of pattern?" Deho described what he had seen. Dr. Lee listened carefully and took notes. "You might be right," she said. "Many cultures have special ways to honor the dead. Maybe Thekmoran is trying to do that." "But why does it seem so frustrated?" Deho asked. "Maybe because it can't do it properly," Dr. Lee said. "Maybe our environment doesn't have what it needs." That night, Deho brought a chair to the hallway, outside the cargo bay. He sat down and watched the entire ceremony. He brought a notebook and wrote down everything he saw. Thekmoran always started by touching the curved piece to its chest. Then it would make a low humming sound. After that, it would pick up 3 small pieces and arrange them in a triangle. It would touch each piece and make a different sound. The ceremony went on for 2 hours. When it was over, Thekmoran would carefully put all the pieces back in exactly the same spots. Then it would curl up on the floor and go to sleep. Why does it put them back in the same places? Deho wondered. The next day he asked Tae-young to help him. "I want to understand what Thekmoran is doing," he said. "Can you help me watch tonight?" Tae-young looked worried. "My girlfriend says I'm spending too much time thinking about the alien. She says it's not healthy." "Maybe it's not," Deho said. "But I can't stop thinking about it. It's in pain and I want to help." "How can we help an alien?" Tae-young asked. "We don't know anything about its people. We can learn," Deho said. "We can watch and try to understand." That night, both men sat in the hallway. Tae-young brought a camera to record the ceremony. Deho brought his notebook and drew pictures of how Thekmoran arranged the metal pieces. "Look at that," Tae-young whispered. "It's touching the pieces in a specific order. Always the same order. And it's facing the same direction every time," Deho added, toward the wall where the stars are visible through the window. They watched as Thekmoran performed its ritual. Tonight, something different happened. When the alien finished arranging the pieces, it looked up at the stars and made a sound they had never heard before. It was beautiful and sad at the same time. "That wasn't crying," Tae-young said. "That was singing." "It's trying to sing to its family," Deho realized. "It's trying to send them a message." The next morning, Deho went to see Captain Park. He showed her his notes and Tae-young's recording. "I think I understand what's happening," he said. "Thekmoran is trying to perform a funeral ceremony for its family. But it can't do it, right? Because our station doesn't have what it needs." Captain Park looked at the notes. "What do you think it needs?" "I don't know exactly," Deho admitted. "But I think the problem is our environment. The lights are wrong. The air is wrong. Everything is made for humans, not for its people." "What are you suggesting?" Captain Park asked. "Let me study its needs more carefully," Deho said. "Maybe we can change the cargo bay to help it," Captain Park frowned. "That could be dangerous. We don't know what changes might do to the station." The current situation isn't working," Deho sighed. "Thekmoran is getting weaker every day, and the crying is affecting everyone on the station. People can't sleep. Children are having nightmares. We need to try something." That afternoon, Dr. Lee came to the maintenance bay. She had been studying Thekmoran's behavior too. "I've been analyzing the recordings," she said. "I think you're right about the ceremony, but I think there's more to it." "What do you mean?" Deho asked. "I think the metal pieces aren't just random objects from the ship," Dr. Lee said. "I think they're specific items that belong to its family members, personal things." "Like what?" "Maybe toys that belong to its children." "Or jewelry." "From its mate?" "Things that would help it remember them." Deho felt a chill. That makes it even sadder. "But also more hopeful," Dr. Lee said. "If we can understand what it needs, maybe we can help it heal." That night, Deho brought a small scanner to the hallway. He wanted to get more information about the metal pieces. When Thekmoran wasn't looking, he scanned them through the window. The scanner showed something interesting. The pieces weren't just made of metal. They had organic traces on them, biological material that belonged to other Valkyrians. These pieces were touched by its family, Deho whispered to himself. They're all it has left of them. He watched as Thekmoran performed its ritual again. This time, he paid attention to the alien's body language. He noticed that Thekmoran seemed frustrated when it arranged the pieces. It would put them in one spot, then move them to another spot, then move them again. It's trying to get the arrangement right, Deho realized. But it can't. Something is wrong with the environment. When the ceremony was over, Thekmoran looked more tired than usual. It curled up on the floor and made a small, sad sound before going to sleep. Deho made a decision. He was going to help Thekmoran, even if it meant taking risks. He was going to find out what the alien needed to properly honor its family. He was going to give it a chance to heal. The next morning, he started making plans. He would need help from other people on the station. He would need to convince Captain Part to let him try, and he would need to work fast, because Thekmoran was getting weaker every day. But Deho was determined. He had spent his whole life fixing broken things. Now he was going to try to fix a broken heart. The next morning, Deho went to find Hai-1-0, the station's computer expert. She was good at understanding data and finding patterns in numbers. I need your help, he told her. I've been watching Thekmoran, and I think there's something important we're missing. Hai-1 looked at the recordings and scanner data that Deho had collected. She put them into her computer and started analyzing them. This is interesting, she said after a few minutes. These metal pieces aren't just random objects. Look at this. She pointed to her screen. Each piece has traces of biological material on it, but not from Thekmoran, from other Valkyrians. What does that mean? Deho asked. It means these pieces were touched by other members of its species, recently, maybe right before they died. Deho felt his heart sink. So they really are personal items from its family. More than that, Hai-1 said. Look at this pattern. The biological traces are from at least 4 different individuals. But 2 of them are much smaller than the others. Smaller how? The biological markers suggest they came from very young Valkyrians. Children, maybe even babies. Deho sat down heavily. It's children, Thekmoran's children, Hai-1 nodded sadly. I think so. And look at this. She showed him another part of the data. These pieces aren't just touched by its family. They're arranged in a specific pattern that matches star charts. Star charts? Yes, the way Thekmoran arranges them matches the position of stars in the Valkyrian home system. I checked against our navigation data. Deho stared at the screen. So it's not just remembering its family. It's trying to guide them home. That's what I think, Hai-1 said. But there's a problem. The ceremony isn't working properly. Something is wrong with the environment. Deho asked Dr. Lee to meet them. When she arrived, Hai-1 showed her the data. This confirms what I suspected, Dr. Lee said. Thekmoran is trying to perform a traditional Valkyrian funeral ceremony, but human. Space stations aren't designed for alien rituals. What would it need? Deho asked. I'm not sure, Dr. Lee admitted, but I can guess. Different lighting, maybe. Different air composition, different temperature. Maybe even different gravity. Can we change those things? Deho asked. It would be dangerous, Dr. Lee said, and expensive. And Captain Park might not approve. That afternoon, Deho went to see Myung-ho Choi, the station's chief engineer. Myung-ho was older and more experienced than Deho, but they had worked together many times. I need to ask you something, Deho said. Is it possible to change the environment in the cargo bay? Myung-ho looked suspicious. Why would you want to do that? Deho explained everything he had learned. Myung-ho listened carefully. Theoretically, it's possible, Myung-ho said finally. We could adjust the lighting system. We could change the air mixture. We could even adjust the gravity in that section. But it would be very complicated. How complicated? We'd need to install new systems, new computers, new air filters. It would take weeks of work. And if we made a mistake, we could damage the whole station. Daeho felt disappointed. So we can't help it. I didn't say that, Myung-ho said. I said it would be complicated, but complicated doesn't mean impossible. That evening, Daeho went back to watch Thekmoran's ceremony. This time, he brought a special light meter to measure the illumination. In the cargo bay, as he watched, he noticed something new. When Thekmoran arranged the metal pieces, it kept looking up at the lights. It would move the pieces, then look at the lights again, then move the pieces to a different spot. It's trying to get the lighting right, Daeho realized. But our lights are too harsh, too white, too human. He also noticed that Thekmoran was breathing differently during the ceremony. It would take deep breaths, then make frustrated sounds. The air is wrong too, Daeho thought. It needs something that's not in our atmosphere. The next morning, he went to Captain Park with a request. I want to talk to Thekmoran directly, he said. I want to ask it what it needs. Captain Park looked worried. That could be dangerous. We don't know how it will react to direct contact. It's dying, Daeho said. I can see it getting weaker every day. If we don't help it soon, it might not survive. What makes you think it will trust you? Captain Park asked. Because I've been there every night, Daeho said. I've been watching and trying to understand. Maybe it knows that I want to help. Captain. Park thought about it for a long time. Finally, she nodded. Okay, but I'll have security guards nearby. And if anything goes wrong, you leave immediately. That afternoon, Daeho entered the cargo bay for the first time since Thekmoran had arrived. The alien was sitting in its usual spot, surrounded by the metal pieces. When it saw Daeho, its yellow eyes focused on him. You are the one who watches, Thekmoran said in its deep voice. Every night you come to the window. Yes, Daeho said. I'm trying to understand what you need. Why? Thekmoran asked. Why do you care about my pain? Daeho thought about the question. Because I know what it's like to lose someone you love, and because I think I can help you. Thekmoran was quiet for a long time. Then it said, You cannot help me. My people's ceremonies require things that do not exist here. What things? Daeho asked gently, the light of 3 suns. The scent of morning flowers. The sound of the wind through crystal caves. The weight of proper gravity. Thekmoran's voice was full of sadness. Without these things, I cannot guide my family spirits home. Without guiding them home, I cannot heal. What if we could create those things? Daeho asked. What if we could change this room to give you what you need? Thekmoran looked at him with surprise. You would do that? For me? We would try, Daeho said. If you can teach us what you need, we can try to make it happen. For the first time since arriving on the station, Thekmoran's eyes seemed to glow a little brighter. You would help me honor my children? Yes, Daeho said. We would help you say goodbye to them properly. Thekmoran reached out with one of its clawed hands and gently touched Daeho's shoulder. Then I will teach you, it said. I will teach you the ways of my people. And maybe, with your help, I can finally let my family rest in peace. That night, instead of performing its frustrated ceremony, Thekmoran spent hours teaching Daeho about Valkyrian funeral traditions. It explained about the 3 suns and the morning flowers. It described the crystal caves and the proper gravity. As Daeho listened, he started to understand that this wasn't just about helping one alien. This was about building a bridge between 2 very different species. This was about showing that humans could care about others even when those others were completely alien to them. When the lesson was over, Daeho had pages of notes. He also had a plan. Tomorrow, he would start building the first human Valkyrian morning chamber. He would give Thekmoran a chance to heal, and in doing so, he would show what humans were capable of when they chose to help instead of fear. The next morning, Daeho called a meeting in the maintenance bay. He had invited everyone who might be able to help. Myung-ho the engineer, Dr. Lee the scientist, Hai-won the computer expert, and several other workers. I know this sounds crazy, Daeho said, but I want to transform the cargo bay into a Valkyrian morning chamber. Some people looked shocked. Others looked interested. That's impossible, said Jong-Soo Park, one of the senior technicians. We don't have the equipment for that kind of work. Maybe we don't have the exact equipment, Daeho said, but we have smart people and good tools. We can figure something out. He showed them his notes from talking with Dekmoran. It needs the light of 3 suns. We can create that with different colored lights. It needs the scent of morning flowers. Maybe we can synthesize something similar. It needs the sound of wind through crystal caves. We have audio equipment. What about the gravity? Myung-ho asked. That's the hardest part. We have microgravity generators in the storage area, Daeho said. They're old, but they still work? Maybe we can modify them. Dr. Lee looked at the notes carefully. This is actually fascinating, she said. If we can do this, we'll learn more about Valkyrian culture than anyone has ever known. But why should we risk it? Jong-Soo asked. The alien hasn't done anything for us. It's not about what it can do for us, Daeho said. It's about doing what's right. Dekmoran is suffering and we can help. Tae-young raised his hand. I'll help, he said. I've been watching too, and it breaks my heart every night. Me too, said Mrs. Shin, who had come to listen. That poor creature needs our help. One by one, people started volunteering. Even some who had been afraid of Dekmoran said they wanted to help. Captain Park came to see what was happening. When she heard the plan, she looked worried. This could be dangerous, she said. What if something goes wrong? What if we damage the station? What if we don't try? Daeho asked. Dekmoran is getting weaker every day, and the crying is affecting everyone. We need to do something. Captain Park thought about it. Okay, she said finally, but you have 3 days. If this doesn't work by then, we stop the project. 3 days? Myung-ho said. That's not much time. Then we better get started, Daeho said. The next few hours were like nothing the station had ever seen. People worked together in ways they never had before. Everyone had a job to do. Myung-ho and his team started working on the lighting system. They took lights from all over the station and connected them to new controls. They created 3 different types of light that would shine at the same time, like 3 different suns. One worked on programming the lights to change colors slowly, the way Dekmoran had described. She also worked on creating sounds that would mimic wind blowing through crystal caves. Dr. Lee and Mrs. Shin worked together to create artificial scents. They didn't have Valkyrian morning flowers, but they had other plants and chemicals. They mixed different smells until they found something that felt right. It smells like sadness and hope at the same time, Mrs. Shin said. I think this might work. The hardest job was fixing the gravity. Myung-ho and Daeho worked for hours trying to modify the old gravity generators. The machines were heavy and complicated. I don't think this is going to work, Myung-ho said after they had been working for 6 hours. These machines are too old. We have to make them work, Daeho said. Dekmoran said the gravity is very important for the ceremony. Just then, young Nunji Nam came into the bay with her father. She had been watching them work. Why don't you ask the dragon what gravity feels like on its planet? She said. The adults looked at each other. It was such a simple idea, but none of them had thought of it. Daeho went to talk to Dekmoran again. Can you describe how gravity feels on your home world? He asked. Dekmoran thought about it. It is lighter than here, but heavier than space. Like being underwater, but still able to move freely. This gave Daeho an idea. Instead of trying to change the gravity in the whole room, they could create a small area with different gravity just around where Dekmoran would perform the ceremony. By the end of the first day, they had made good progress. The lights were installed and working. The sound system was ready. The scent generators were in place. The gravity field was still giving them trouble, but they were getting closer. On the second day, more people came to help. Mr. Han brought art supplies and started painting the walls with colors that Dekmoran had described. Young people from the school came to help carry tools and equipment. This is bringing everyone together, Dr. Lee said to Daeho. I've never seen the station community work like this before. Even people who had been afraid of Thekmoran were now working to help it. They began to understand that the alien wasn't dangerous. It was just heartbroken. On the second night, Deho went to update Thekmoran on their progress. When the alien saw all the work they had done, its eyes glowed brighter than they had since it arrived. "You're really doing this," Thekmoran said with wonder. "You're really trying to help me." "We told you we would," Deho said. "How does it look so far?" Thekmoran walked around the room slowly, examining everything. "The lights are good. The colors are close to right. The sounds, they remind me of home." It stopped and took a deep breath. "The scents are different from our morning flowers, but they feel respectful, sad but hopeful. What about the gravity?" Deho asked. Thekmoran stepped into the area where they had set up the gravity field. "It is not perfect," it said, "but it is much better. It feels more like home." "Tomorrow we'll make final adjustments," Deho said. "Then you can try the real ceremony." "And if it works?" Thekmoran asked. "Then you can finally say goodbye to your family properly," Deho said, "and maybe start to heal." That night, for the first time in 2 weeks, Thekmoran didn't cry. Instead, it helped the humans make final preparations. It showed them exactly where to place each element and how to adjust the settings. "In my culture," Thekmoran said as they worked, "when someone helps you honor your dead, they become part of your family. If this works, you will all be my family." Deho felt tears in his eyes. "We would be honored," he said. On the third day, everything was ready. The cargo bay had been completely transformed. It no longer looked like a human storage room. It looked like a sacred space where something important could happen. All the people who had worked on the project gathered to watch. Even Captain Park came to see what they had accomplished. "I've never seen anything like this," she said. "You've created something beautiful." Thekmoran stood at the entrance to the transformed room. It was holding the metal pieces from its family. The last things it had of them. "Are you ready?" Deho asked gently. Thekmoran nodded. "I am ready to let them go home." The alien stepped into the room, and the ceremony began. Everyone held their breath as Thekmoran stepped into the transformed cargo bay. The alien moved slowly, carefully, as if entering a holy place. The 3 colored lights cast a warm glow over everything. The air smelled of flowers and hope. Soft sounds like wind through caves played quietly in the background. The gravity field made everything feel lighter, more peaceful. Thekmoran walked to the center of the room and knelt down. It placed the metal pieces from its family on the floor in front of it. For a moment it just looked at them. "My children," it whispered, "my beloved mate. I have tried so hard to send you home." The alien began the ceremony. But this time, everything was different. Instead of looking frustrated and sad, Thekmoran moved with purpose and peace. It picked up the small, curved piece, the one that had belonged to its youngest child. It held it against its chest and began to sing. The song was beautiful and sad, but not painful like the crying had been. It was full of love. The humans watching felt tears in their eyes, but they were good tears. Tears of beauty, not sorrow. Thekmoran arranged the metal pieces in the star pattern, just as it had done every night. But now, under the 3 colored lights, the pattern seemed to glow. It looked like a real map of the stars. "I can see it," Dr. Lee whispered. "I can see the star pattern. It's pointing toward the Valkyrian home system." As Thekmoran sang, something magical happened. The lights began to pulse gently in rhythm with its voice. The scents grew stronger. The sound of wind through caves seemed to answer the alien's song. "The sensors are picking up energy readings," High One said quietly. "Something is happening in that room." For 2 hours, Thekmoran performed the ceremony. It touched each piece of metal and sang to it. It told stories about its family. It shared memories of happy times. It spoke of love and loss and hope. Finally, the alien picked up all the metal pieces and held them close to its heart. It sang one last, beautiful song. Then it placed the pieces back on the floor and stood up. "It is done," Thekmoran said. "They are free? They are home?" The alien turned to face the humans who had been watching. Its yellow eyes were bright and clear. For the first time since arriving on the station, Dekmoran looked at peace. You have given me the greatest gift possible. It said, you have helped me honor my family. You have helped me let them go. Deho stepped forward. Are you feeling better? He asked. I am feeling whole, Dekmoran said. The pain is still there, but it no longer controls me. I can remember my family with joy now, not just with sorrow. That night, for the first time in 3 weeks, the station was completely quiet. No crying, no sad sounds. Everyone slept peacefully. The next morning, Dekmoran came to find Deho in the maintenance bay. The alien was carrying something in its hands. I want to give you this, Dekmoran said. It held out a small device that looked like it was made of crystal and metal. What is it? Deho asked. It is a Valkyrian memory keeper, Dekmoran said. It contains all the technical knowledge of my people. How to build faster ships. How to create better energy sources. How to heal diseases. Everything. Deho stared at the device. This must be worth a fortune. Money means nothing to me, Dekmoran said. But kindness is priceless. You and your people showed me kindness when I needed it most. This is my gift to you. Captain Park was called to see the device. When she understood what it contained, she could hardly believe it. This technology could change everything for humanity. She said, our ships could travel farther and faster. Our colonies could be more self-sufficient. Our people could live longer, healthier lives. But I have one request, Dekmoran said. I want to stay here and help you learn to use this technology. And I want to help you understand my people so that humans and Valkyrians can be friends. You want to stay? Captain Park asked. Where else would I go? Dekmoran said. My family is gone. My homeworld is far away. But here I have found new family. Here I have found people who care about others, even when those others are different from them. Over the next few weeks, everything on the station changed. Dekmoran worked with the human engineers to understand Valkyrian technology. It taught Dr. Lee about Valkyrian culture and biology. It helped the children learn about the stars and space travel. The alien also helped improve life on the station in many small ways. It showed them how to grow food more efficiently. It taught them new ways to recycle water and air. It even helped Mr. Han create beautiful art that combined human and Valkyrian styles. It's amazing, Mrs. Shin said one day. A few weeks ago, we were all afraid of Dekmoran. Now I can't imagine the station without it. Word of what had happened spread to other human colonies. Scientists and diplomats came to study the friendship between humans and the Valkyrian. They wanted to learn how to build bridges between different species. What you did here was remarkable, said Dr. Sangmi Kim, a diplomat from Earth. You didn't just help one alien. You created the first true partnership between humans and another intelligent species. We just did what felt right, Deho said. We saw someone in pain and we tried to help. That's exactly what makes this so special, Dr. Kim said. You didn't help because you wanted something in return. You helped because you cared. 6 months later, the first official Valkyrian ship arrived at the station. When the Valkyrian crew met Dekmoran, they were amazed by what had happened. The humans helped you complete the mourning ceremony? Asked the ship's captain, a Valkyrian named Velkith. But they know nothing of our ways. They learned, Dekmoran said. They watched and listened and cared. They showed me that kindness exists in all species. The Valkyrian captain looked around the station, seeing humans and Dekmoran working together happily. Perhaps it is time for our peoples to know each other better, Velkith said. Perhaps we can learn from each other. That evening, humans and Valkyrians gathered together in the cargo bay that had been transformed into a mourning chamber. But now it was transformed again into a celebration hall. Deho stood up to speak. 3 months ago, a stranger crashed into our station, he said. We were afraid because it looked different from us. But we learned that being different on the outside doesn't mean being different on the inside. He looked at Dekmoran, who was sitting with the human children, teaching them about Valkyrian games. We learned that sadness is the same everywhere. Love is the same everywhere, and the need for kindness is the same everywhere, Deho continued. Today we're not just humans and Valkyrians, we're friends, we're family. Thekmoran stood up and added in my language, there's a saying, the stars shine brightest when they shine together. Today, human and Valkyrian stars are shining together, and the whole galaxy is brighter because of it. Everyone cheered and clapped, children from both species played together, adults shared stories and food. Music from both worlds filled the air. As Deho watched the celebration, he thought about how much had changed. A broken alien ship had brought them the greatest gift possible, the chance to prove that kindness could bridge any gap. No matter how wide, he had fixed many broken things in his life. But helping Thekmoran heal from grief had taught him something important. Sometimes the most valuable thing you can fix is not a machine, but a heart. And sometimes when you help heal someone else's heart, you discover that your own heart grows bigger too.